Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host John, better known as Dan, around Yaks Ben, and we have a fantastic show for you. We talk about all the April Fool's jokes, so have a seat as we tell you about that. Another PvP tournament has been sold, and Mountain Licenses 2.0 just feels like 2017 all over again. And much more, but first, let me introduce you to my fellow host. He is a moderator over at MMO Champion and host of Zero to Hero on this channel. It's criminal how many people were going after the almighty Moneyball. Say hello to Jim.
I really don't even have a humorous follow-up to that one. It's just kind of disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, everybody.
And he streams over on Twitch where he answers the age-old question, what if the only reason all this craziness has happened in the community is due to it being March Madness? Say hello to Age.
I guess so. It's the end. It's the high point. But honestly, I'm just going to be counting all the chair puns and sit puns that you're going to be making today. So, one.
I don't know what you mean. Well, let us jump right into it. So this past week, we had the March 27th patch, and kind of a hidden surprise in there. We actually now have the ability to sit in chairs, and what we found out later was there's also a YouTube video that they put out, and we do have it here for you to watch. This was actually meant to be the April Fool's joke, was to be able to sit in chairs, and they kind of made, like, I love the video because it's like they're being super serious about it, and you know, it's like, oh, this is a feature we wanted to unveil and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know, they decided to reveal that it was just, I mean, I say just sitting in chairs, but I mean, this has been something that people have been waiting for. And I know the role-playing community and all that stuff has been going crazy about it. But
it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That for the put into the video too is actually quite good too.
I like the video a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. A lot of people are going crazy about it, and I kind of see why. I wanted to sit in chairs for a while. Like there was a couple different places, but it's just so interesting now how everyone's gonna just be sitting in chairs wherever you go.
mm-hmm.
There's like RP value, obviously, machinima value, obviously, things like that. So it's a neat, interesting quality of life change that a lot of people seem to enjoy. What I did notice is that there are no chairs in PvP lobby. So Arena, you need to get on that.
Oh, what if there was okay, next April Fools, you already got it. PvP game mode of musical chairs. The person that doesn't make it just gets killed. There we go. That's some player versus player right there.
Crap.
Okay. That'd be interesting.
Oh, chat. Oh boy, sitting in chairs is the next step in player housing for the next expansion. I wish I had your confidence. I mean,
that would be cool. I don't know. It does extend into guild halls too.
Now, does this? I can show you the achievement. It's basically chairs of the world, and you get, after you sit in all the chairs, you get a title that is Armchair Commander, since you are the commander, of course. But I am curious: is this, like, since this is supposedly an April Fool's joke? Is this staying in the game, or is it only around for like this week of April Fools? Or
I'd see it just staying in the game.
There's no real reason to take it out.
Yeah. Because if they took it out and we have that achievement there, you know, like, people are gonna be upset.
Yeah. Not to mention, like, this also gives them a lot of options for any kind of story. Like, they can actually have characters sitting somewhere, like in a small cinematic or something. So instead of having to just animate it by hand, if they wanted to do like a custom cinematic, they now have everything in game to do it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think over total they said, what is it? Over 1,400 chairs spread across the 6 cities, five home instances, and 1 raid lobby. Plus some of those chairs are benches, which are like, so, 2 chairs for the price of 1, as they like to say in the frequently asked questions section of the chairs. But yeah, and I like the trailer. How what is it? Seat of Power. I wonder if this is the only thing, or maybe this was the initial thing. Maybe something like triggers on Sunday. Like maybe there's a chair uprising.
I would really like that, to be honest.
Did you say a chair uprising?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was that tweet they put out on Tuesday, I think it was, that said like ley line infused magic were into the chairs, and we thought we could hold it until April 1st, but we couldn't. So if people sit in chairs, it should neutralize the threat. So I'm like,
there's an event where if you don't sit in the chairs enough, that like the chairs like it's almost like the fail state for like Tequado, where it's like the fish heads. Like if people don't sit in the chairs enough, chairs will just ransack the town or something for.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I mean, I'm gonna log in tomorrow and see, but I'm not going to expect anything. But if some weird event pops up, cool.
Yeah, I'm curious if it does feel like this was just meant to be, especially with the trailer and stuff, and maybe they're just doing it because it was the closest. It'd be weird if they did it on what it would be April 3rd. Would be that next Tuesday or April? Yeah, April 3rd. So it'd be weird to be like April Fools on the 3rd. So at least it's ahead of it. I mean, you can still call it a part of it, but yeah, and that's why I'm wondering what Zacharias is saying is it seems like it came out, but I have to give Arena the benefit of the doubt. They're usually very good about this whole release of stuff, and if the trailer says April 1st is like when the Seat of Power happens, I'm wondering if this was just like the precursor to it. Like that's why I'm wondering if like maybe this was like just something implemented and then something actually does happen on the 1st in conjunction with this.
It'd be kind of amusing.
It's more like don't expect anything, but I'm gonna log in April 1st.
Yeah.
Because if they do put something out April 1st, it'd be pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yep. And what was I gonna say? I don't remember. But yeah, I definitely think it'll be interesting to see what happens, if anything more happens. But I do like that, and I hope we do get more April Fools like this, where it's actually adding a small feature that a lot of people have wanted for so long. So it's like, oh hey, you had this big feature. Oh, it's just sitting in chairs, but even though it's not like a groundbreaking like content update, it's still a nice quality of life, like we said, for role players, for probably machinimers. I don't know.
Well, no. I think Zacharias is onto something with the Raid Wing 6 final chair boss.
Just one boss.
That's the musical chairs boss.
I'd be game for that. That'd be awesome. But
the wrong chair will consume you.
Yeah. I mean, we have mini pets that were mimic chests, so there might be lore reason of mimics in the game. But any other thoughts on the April Fool's joke this week of sitting in chairs? Would you like to see more like these, or?
What? Well, I guess if anything, I don't know if it would be considered an April Fool's joke, but I really missed from Guild Wars 1 the air instruments. So if they could bring those back, that'd be great.
Oh, I like the emotes and.
Yeah, I miss that one a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Anything else they could do that's similar to this?
Put in fishing. No, that's another one everybody wants.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else right now, but I think it's just interesting how simplistic it is.
Oh, okay, yeah. Chat's also saying beds without clipping, sinking through them. Okay, yeah, that could hopefully maybe this feature moves to that, or
yeah.
But yeah, I kind of like the April Fool's joke as being like a nice little quality of life feature. So I don't know. I like that idea as if they can still implement them without overdoing it. I mean,
yeah, I just like how simplistic this was. Like just the simple concept of sitting in a chair and everyone's happy with it.
Yep.
So I'm like, it's kind of cool. So
it's like having jump.
Hey, in Guild Wars, you could always jump, whenever you wanted to. But yeah, that let's move away from that to what used to be an April Fool's joke and now is a full-fledged, I guess, April Fool's festivity. So Super Venture Box is back. It went live on the 29th. Unfortunately, there is no new world, but there has been a race added to the SAB hub. The Moto vendor rewards have been split into 2 vendors that accompany him. There have also been many bug fixes. Players who have I love this one. Players who have beaten World 1 Zone 1 will now see a shortened version of the opening scene when entering that zone. The full scene will always play in infantile mode for the enjoyment of progeny. So for people that have probably farmed that in the past, going through that whole beginning cinematic, while it's nice, while it's lovely, when you're farming it, it's so I'm glad to hear that it's a lot shorter.
that's good.
Apparently the /resign command can now be used in Super Adventure Box's world, so I guess if things are going too tough for you, you can, off yourself. Many concealed spear traps in tribulation mode will now become visible after taking a player's life.
That's just helpful.
Yeah.
Health potions now consume a charge immediately on use. Be careful handling potion flasks.
That one is actually really good. I really like that because it kind of acts as a stun break as well. So in certain cases you would want to use that. So like in World
2 with all those snow things or something, where
World 2 Zone 1, there's like you have to feed the octopus in order to move the thing down. Like the weight balance thing, but there's a point where like on the last part you have to jump back up, so you could just stun break really quickly and then jump off and just be on your way instead of doing the extra jumps. So it's kind of neat. I like it.
Yeah, so far it's pretty awesome changes and quality of life changes. Master jumpers who find themselves with an excess of tribulation mode trophies can now exchange them for baubles with the vendors. So that's nice. Players remaining in the Super Adventure Box hub when the festival ends will be redirected to their homeland. Because wasn't there that issue or something? I remember halfway through like last year or something, someone was like, I logged in and I was still in the zone map or something, the hub world. So, They figured it out.
Yeah.
They're gonna get booted. But yeah, so have any of you jumped into SAB, or are you planning to?
I jumped in for dailies.
I would like to. It's one of those things where I have to find the time for it half the time.
Yeah.
And the rum.
Like did they not make the baubles currency this year?
I don't think so.
No, it's still in my inventory. I don't know if I could put it in my wallet.
You'd have to consume it.
It's not that bad.
Oh, there's a bauble node.
Yeah, I need to get that. I need to get that real bad.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, that is one of the nicer things, because unless they fixed or something, I remember that shaman was tweeting out like he almost made his amount out of his baubles back. Like, it's pretty nice. It's pretty handy if you're planning on storing some of those up. But definitely hop in if you want to, you know. But also, if you love Sab so much and you want to show off your love on the forums about it, they did just add 4 new avatar pictures. One of Princess Maya, Raccoon, the Genie, and the Toad. So definitely make sure to switch those over the Guild Wars 2 official forums if you so desire.
Yeah. I know we're not talking gem store now, but where are the Sab 8-bit mount skins?
I think that's what everybody was asking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I that's like,
What the hell, man?
like, I'm pretty sure that people would buy that. Like in a
Pretty
heartbeat.
sure. Like the Raptor could have just been green with a red saddle and people would have been all over that shit.
And it's just, I don't know. It could have been like a limited sale as long as Sab's up, and that's it. And then
We'll get to those, Ada. Trust me, we'll get to those.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have fun talking about all of that stuff.
yeah,
Oh boy. But a bunch of bug fixes for various maps, which is always nice. Some general updates. The hero panel now opens to the tab it was on when it was closed. Yes.
It was always really wonky about what tab would open, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would open up to the last one you had open. Sometimes it would open up to like the base menu. And sometimes it would open up to something completely different.
Yeah, I don't want it to open up to the base menu. I'd just rather open up to one tab if I haven't opened it yet. That'd be nice. Or just my equipment panel or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm opening it for a reason. Don't make it blank.
Yeah. Performance improvements have been made when opening the equipment tab of the hero panel, especially for players with a large amount of wardrobe unlocked. So
I can imagine that taking a while to load all the assets for the icons.
yeah, a lot. Yeah. Chat saying they love Sab, but unfortunately it's kind of the same each year. Yeah, honestly, that's my problem. 1 to 2 days really hyped and a lot of fun, and the rest of the remaining days of Sab, it feels more like a daily chore to get the dailies done. Yeah, that's kind of what I've hit with, like, even like last year and stuff, where I'm just like, but for like new players or people that, you know, maybe this is only their first or second year doing it, you know, it's definitely a fun experience. I mean, for an MMO to kind of make its own little platforming game, but without any new worlds, it's kind of tough as a, you know, older player to keep going back in for. Some more of the general updates. Merchants that change what they offer every day should have a better randomization of their available items. In some cases, this may cause them to offer items they've never sold before. Ooh. So, sounds pretty nice. An NPC has been added back to Hooligan's Route, which is Ravius. New achievement for finding his rats. So awesome to see them back. Some fractal updates. Last Laugh and Toxic Trail are now excluded from some creatures in the Shattered Observatory and Nightmare fractals. Last Laugh will now apply daze instead of knockback. Toxic Trail has had its visual size reduced and a thin red area of effect. Effect ring indicator has been added, so that's a nice little quality of life there. Fixed a bug in which the /GG command could cause a wisp to appear forever in the Swampland fractal.
Oh, that's brutal.
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
Oh, that was...
Yeah. Some love for the raids. Fixed a bug in which Doom could teleport into the air. Come on, can't Doom get flying mount? Jeez.
He is now a god. You're a god. You deserve this.
Oh, jeez. Items. So, blood rubies, petrified wood, and jade shards are now consumable items that award unbound magic equal to their previous salvage values when consumed.
This is a fantastic change.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to waste salvage kit uses on them.
Oh, yeah. Such a good chain. I was so happy.
Yeah, I'm glad they made that change. So, and like Jim was saying, you don't have to use your, you know, have to salvage it.
Yeah.
But so in PvP, we got the Rune of Surging has been removed from the PvP build panel. The Magi Amulet has been removed from the PvP build panel as well. So is this huge, like horrible for the PvP community, or is this like kind of needed to happen?
Nah, it's
surging was a bit of a crutch for a lot of builds, and it was a lot of like guaranteed CC because you'd be able to pop your elite and immediately start stunning everyone around you. And then it was the only power and boon duration rune, so it was one of those like kind of no-brainers for a bunch of specs.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. I think Magi's was removed because it was like a top healing variant.
It was one of the last like big bunker amulets that was left in the game.
Okay, yeah. So
okay. Well, that's kind of it of the patch notes, besides the specific topics of like kind of the bigger things like the balance patch. So we're not going to go through every single one, but we're going to kind of go through each class as a whole. And I did put the link in the chat, so we are going to go through by that order. That way people know ahead of time, and that way we can.
I have my notes ready.
So profession skills general, call owl fixed a bug that could cause this attack to miss its target when they remained in range.
See, okay. They do care about racial skills.
Yeah. Elementalist. So that's the first one up. And what interesting things from the Elementalist did they were they nerfed? Were they buffed? Were they
generally speaking, the Elementalist changes weren't super terrible. Oop, that's the wrong hotkey command. Wow, Age frantically angrily typing. A lot of the Elementalist stuff not terrible. My problem, and the reason I talked about having notes, why I was typing furiously through most of the other updates, is with the skill changes to the cooldowns, the PvP only changes. Generally speaking, and this is all the passive changes that I've been railing about with this show and on Zero to Hero. One of the changes that they made to Elementalist was Burning Fire. It is a adept tier fire trait line trait. It is the third one down. When you get 3 or more condies on you, you will automatically cast Cleansing Fire on yourself. They increase the cooldown from 40 seconds to 60 seconds. Now, in a vacuum, that seems fine. Okay, that just seems whatever. Because there's a lot of classes deal damage through Condi, and just having all this free Condi cleanse just seems like, you know, a way to put skill back on the players that you're fighting against. The problem I have is that Burning Fire shares a trait line with Burning Precision, which is burn on crit, which, yay, it's 1 stack of burn. It's not a long burn. I haven't run into any Condi Elementalists really that much in PvP, and it's really not something I don't think you'd take, because it's just straight damage, and a lot of stuff in PvP you want more utility than that. And then, but there are arguments that could be made for Burning Precision. The second trait line is Conjurer, which reduces the CD on Conjurers, and you get a fire aura when an ally picks up your conjured weapon. Nobody uses conjured weapons. I'm sorry, Deo.
That's fine.
Like, sometimes you'll see a fiery greatsword, but generally speaking, Weave Self and Rebound are better.
And I do want to know, like, we've talked about this in the past leading up to this. These are just all PvP and World v. World changes.
Yes.
Like,
I'd made sure when I was doing my notes that these are just pure PvP only changes, and I was only going to pick one per class, except for Warrior, because Warrior is special. But at the moment, the problem I have, and this is going to be a theme with this, is they just made the best choice worse without making the other choices competitive with it.
Mm-hmm.
So Burning Fire is still your best choice. You could make some niche arguments for Burning Precision, but Burning Fire, if you're taking fire into PvP, is still your best choice there. And that's all I have for Elementalist.
I don't have much to say on Elementals. It seemed like they just buffed things, they nerfed some things. I'm not sure how, because I haven't really played Weaver to all too much to say, but Tempest looks like a little bit got hit a little bit, but not too much. Doesn't look like. They did increase some damage in some areas, so that might be helpful. But that's all I got, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's neutral to slightly positive in a general sense for Elementalist.
Okay.
That's good. Well, I know there's been a lot of kind of buzz around the next one of like, I think happiness. I think a lot of people like the changes to the engineer.
Except engineers.
Except Hollowsmiths.
Why would you say that?
Because they reduced all of the Lightforge projector damage.
Yeah.
All of their F5 damage got reduced, which it was doing way too goddamn much.
Yeah.
It was just doing way too much damage.
Yeah.
It's not like you're not going to be like a super damagey spec anymore. It's just you're slightly less ridiculous. Oh, and they added bugs to engineer. Okay, that's great.
Well, you know, they are like almost like robotic, you know, kind of things. Bug in the system. It's how it's supposed to. What? I still got my static thing. I forget. Oh, bug in the system. Sorry. I'll get it. It's the only time I'll do it. I promise.
They buffed the mortar kit.
That's what I want to talk about.
I'm cool with that. Like I use that as well. I use that as my elite and WW on my engineer. I'm totally cool with
so much fun to use.
It's always been fun to use.
Yeah. I love it. First time it came into the game, that's like the first time in a long time I actually played my engineer, and I had a lot of fun with it. I was just doing sword waste.
Yeah, I was gonna say it just basically looks like increased damage across the board, like 33% on all the skills except for the main. I think it's the main one, which is just 25%, but still, it's reduced cooldowns. Yeah, it's jeez.
Yeah, reduce the Condi, increase the damage. It's great.
Yeah, that sounds really nice.
And I'm gonna bring up my PvP only bug fix or balance change that I got bothered because like I said, I pulled up one for everything. For this one, self-regulating defenses. It is you automatically pop an Elixir S when you hit 50% HP, and that's the one that shrinks the engineer and makes them completely invulnerable to everything, but you can't use skills. It competes. It went from 75 seconds to 90 seconds. It competes with Comeback Cure, which when you cleanse a condition, you grant regeneration, which I think with some of the with a lot of the newer stuff with elixirs or alchemy, the alchemy trait line, there can be a lot of arguments for Comeback Cure to be kind of useful in niche situations. Again, the same with my elementalist talk about how Burning Precision can be niche. But the third one on that line is Backpack Regenerator, which is health per second while using a kit. A tiny amount of health per second while using a kit. This is another Conjurer trait. Like, I don't know anybody that uses this. I thought it would be great to use this, but the heal is terrible.
Yeah.
It does not scale. At least it doesn't scale well. But again, it's one of those things where I think you just made the best trait worse, but it's still the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't really fix anything, but
it doesn't make you immune to the condis that are already on you, but nothing can affect you, so nothing new can hit you. And Jabo, I did use the backpack regenerator for that, but then I ended up getting rid of that trait line for my my flamethrower build just because I found that my heal skill was enough to keep me alive as long as I wasn't just flat out standing in bad stuff.
But I want to stand in bad stuff.
But again, it's worse, but it's still the best all-around trait for that line. Which I get wanting to reduce passive gameplay, but you still have to make balance changes in the trait lines to make all of the traits equally worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to say that there was the change to detection pulse is actually interesting because it increased the radius from 600 to 1200 in PvP and World versus World, and that was actually really good and I'm the person who doesn't like reveal, but in this particular case I actually like it because there's a lot of stealth groups as of late.
I actually kind of like the stealth, the pulse change. Like, I think that's a good change, especially with the cooldown on it. It's got a fairly long cooldown, doesn't it?
Let's see.
Like, it's a crazy big range, but
20 seconds. It's not that bad.
Yeah,
that's a fight pretty much.
And a thief can get away from that. Like, you're just like, oh, they revealed me short bow 5 like 3 times, and I'm gone.
I like it more for not just for. It's more for countering stealth group play. So if there's a group running around stealth, you can actually counter that, which is really nice. So, and I think there's like 1 or 2 phantasms you could summon and not trigger stealth or something like that.
Because they don't do damage, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Which I'm waiting for that to get changed because that's why they changed net shot.
Yeah, so being able to, when you see that, you'll be able to like just reveal and deal with that accordingly. So,
any other shots on the, or any other ideas on the thoughts? That's what I was looking for on the engineer.
I can't wait to get into WW again and mess with my my mortar kit.
Yeah. No more. Mortar kit's fun though.
Well, let us take a look at the Guardians. So I think it overall seems like they kind of nerfed Firebrand, but kind of gave love to the Dragon Hunter. I mean, so it's kind of like there were nerfs and buffs. So depends on what you're playing.
It seemed like there was a lot of bug fixes. Like half of the things are bug fixes.
Yeah.
And there was a change to Tome of Resolve,
which was necessary.
I think that was the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's mostly just tome bug fixes, and then reduce the total healing on chapter 1 for the tome, which is the cone heal. Reduce the scaling or the healing power coefficient on Condi Cleanse for the 2 by 35%, which I really think I really, and honestly, I'm wondering, is it the healing power from the Resolve 2? Or is it the fact that there are so many Condis in PvP right now?
That's what I'm like.
Like, which is the problem?
I would have to see, like, what when you have one condition, how much healing do you get? Basically?
Then the Epilogue Eternal Oasis had a buff that increased the healing a person took by 33%, and that's down to 20%. Which, okay, you're not a one-man healing crew as a Firebrand anymore. You actually have to have someone helping you a little bit, or you have to blow a whole bunch of cooldowns.
I would say, while it's a nerf, it's like, once again, I think a lot of people saw it coming type thing.
Yep. And then Dragon Hunter buffs.
Yay.
And then we've got the PvP passive change. Yeah. This one really annoys me because I wish the trait that is garbage on this tier was good because I like the weapon it affects. So here, Guardians in Virtue, Master tier, had Virtuous Solace, had the cooldown increased from 75 seconds to 90 seconds, where it pops Merciful Sanctuary, which is the smaller consecration that is just an absolute no field to enemies when you hit 25% HP. PvP only. It competes with Absolute Resolution, which is AoE Condi cleanse when you use the active on F2, and the passive heal from your F2 is like 2 or 3 times stronger. Now, again, argument made for that one is that you would want to be doing more skirmish tactics where you wouldn't want to be taking bursts of damage. You'd want to be, and since I was in WW when I was looking at this patch note, I thought that I have Absolute Resolution in WW because I'm not taking bursts of damage, and if an enemy Zerg jumps on me, I'm dead anyway. The first trait isn't going to save my ass.
Mm-hmm.
The garbage trait for this tier is Glacial Heart. 20% cooldown on hammer skills, AoE chill on crit with your hammer.
That never makes sense to me.
The only source of chill in the entirety of the Guardian kit. There was some scuttle about them changing it to slow in Heart of Thorns, but it never happened. It's been the same thing since, I think, vanilla. I don't think it's changed any. One, I don't like it. It doesn't make any sense. Chill on Guardian just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand where Glacial Heart fits into even Guardian lore. And crit and hammer, where is that?
For Guardian, yeah, it doesn't...
Like, why would you use... Like, unless you're just playing the I auto-attack things just because I'm proccing my protection sigil...
Yeah.
And I just happen to have crit and power build. Like, it's not... It doesn't really fit well with the rest of Guardian play. So...
Yeah. The hammer feels more like not more of a DPS option, but more of like a protection... support in terms of protection, right?
It's a tank. It's a tank weapon. It's tank CC.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're auto-proccing protection as you auto attack. You have a leap finisher, which you can use in the shield that you drop for a light shield. And then you've got the chains, which is a line CC attack with immobilize. You have the 4, which is quite honestly one of the most satisfying CCs in the game. The baseball bat swing. And then the 5 is the ring of warding, which is another really satisfying CC because you ring of warding and then hit the 4, and then you watch people bounce off the wall, and that's, again, really satisfying to watch. But Glacial Heart is bad and needs to be changed. So again, I think Virtuous Solace is still, in PvP, the best trait. They just made it worse.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think for me, and they ironically buffed the weapons, the conjure weapons.
They reduced the recharge time on all the spirit weapons.
I don't know if that makes a big difference. Maybe it does for 1 or 2 builds that use it.
I've been seeing Sword of Justice in PvP lately, amusingly enough. But that's just because it's just basically guaranteed damage, since now it procs at the target instead of appearing next to you and then jumping to the target. So
okay. But yeah, for me, the big takeaway was the tonal's resolve changes. So yeah.
Awesome. Next up we have the Mesmer, and I mean, I think we were talking about before the show that
none of us play Mesmer.
That, but it's like, if you're using clones and you're a chronomancer, you're having some fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, well, okay, so basically it was like a bunch of bug fixes and quite a few nerfs, a few buffs here and there, but mostly I think the big takeaway for me was the jaunt change. So they reduced the damage by 50% in PvP Lowest World. Now, for those who don't know, jaunt is basically the elite. It's basically a blink that does damage, and you have 3 charges of them. And it's actually really good. So decreasing the damage, I probably understand that coming. There's other changes as well, like illusionary counter, things like that as well. So,
and one of the things that was talked about earlier in the before the show started is a cap to phantasms.
Oh yeah, that's probably needed.
Because
I think there should be 3 for clones, 3 for phantasms at this point.
Because at the moment, I have video from a friend who dubs a lot of a 10-man Chronomancer group.
Oh, he sent that to you too, huh?
Yeah, he sent that to me too. Of a 10-man Chronomancer group summoning 220 phantasms.
Oh man, that's pretty nuts.
And it's just one of those things where, like, I think the change to phantasms were good, like the more powerful attacks, but it's kind of bullshit.
It's pretty crazy.
Like,
so basically, that's 10 people summoning 22 phantasms at least.
Well, you figure you time split. You summon phantasms, you burn the skill that doubles your phantasms. You shift back, summon phantasms, double your phantasms.
Yeah. That's like 6, 7 things right there. So it's pretty
like
crazy.
It's like a 3x multiplier on your phantasm output.
Yeah. Cap. Probably need it. I don't know how effective phantasms are though.
They're very effective.
Like, what was the change exactly to phantasms again?
Phantasms no longer count towards clone cap when they do their attack once and then turn into a clone when they finish their attack. But all of the phantasms were made stronger because their previous balance was based on their uptime.
Okay. Yeah. They probably need a cap on phantasm. They need a separate cap on phantasm. How they're going to put that? Because they're probably going to need another indicator to show how many.
Honestly, the double your phantasms. I think honestly the real the exacerbating factor here is the double your phantasms skill, because otherwise Chronomancers would just be able to double them.
I don't mind if they have 3 clones and 3 phantasms. Like, I don't mind if they have that limit.
Like, I wouldn't be super bothered by a Chronomancer time shifting, hitting their phantasms, having them turn into clones, shattering, blipping back, doing it again. But this crazy, like, I am an army bullshit is just not, it's oppressive, I think is the way I think I'd call it.
Yeah. As far as I can tell, Mesmer is still pretty good right now.
Very solid.
Yeah. So
hang on, Falsey. Let me pull it up from my Discord.
Oh, I don't know if that's public or not, so I didn't know if I should.
Well, I'll check if it's public.
Yeah.
He
probably streamed it too.
He put it on to it's on his YouTube channel, so it is an unlisted video, so I'd have to ask him about that.
Yeah.
So Falsey, you'll have to hold on that. I don't know if he'd want to get around. Well, actually, he's online now.
Well, anyway, while you try to find out if it's okay for them to share, any other thoughts on the Mesmer itself, or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because I got my trait line thing here. The big one I pulled here is Mirror of Anguish, which is a chaos trait. Also, as said, go for it. So I'm going to copy that. Copy link, and here's that.
I'll make sure for people that are watching this on YouTube that will also be in the description.
So with the Mirror of Anguish, 60 seconds to 90 seconds, when you get hit with a CC, it is mirrored to the person who hit you with it.
Yeah.
So fairly straightforward. It shares a trait line with, here's the niche pick, Chaotic Dampening, which Chaos Armor grants protection, reduce recharge on Staff and Trident. Considering the amount of Chaos Armor that Staff can put out, that's a lot of protection. So I can see that being useful. However, it shares a trait line with chaotic transference, which is 10% of your toughness is converted to condition damage. When do you as a Mesmer build toughness? You need to be building a stat for it to be worthwhile.
Yeah.
And with them removing all the tank amulets from PvP.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I could possibly in raids, but this doesn't affect raid. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Eh.
But even then, if you're thinking about tanking, chrono tanks are power DPS.
True.
So this trait literally means nothing. And even then, I'd rather take chaotic dampening for the protection spam.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
so again, Mirror of Anguish, still probably the best, just worse now.
Working as intended.
Whomp whomp.
And yeah, I would like to see all those more minions for Necros as well, which, you know, speaking of Necros, that's the next one up. And while they did get nerfed as a Scourge, I don't think anybody in their right mind was, you know, surprised by it.
No.
I mean, if you were shocked by the Scourge nerfs, I mean, you're in your own world. Yeah, you're not paying attention, I guess.
I mean, to be fair, they got hit real hard with their class, like the Shroud skills.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this is going to help. I just think there will be windows where where Scourges are now oppressive to deal with, but
I think that's fine. Honestly, I could deal with that a lot better.
But the problem is then you have, like, you're literally just making highs and lows and just bottoming out. Like, it's like your lows are now, I just don't have skills to use.
Yeah, it's the whole... Okay, so when it comes to, I guess, PvP, you shouldn't be blowing everything all at once, which is probably what Scourges were doing because it was so easy to do and just one-shot people. Now you have to actually space things out and you know, actually, you know, play a little bit more smart using your skills, which I honestly don't have a problem with because there should be windows of opportunities to take down any opponent if they mess up, right? Or if they use up all of their utilities. So,
and I mean, you know, it's not all bad that they didn't give some buffs to the wells for, you know, core necro. So you are utilizing the wells. I mean,
also Spectral Grasp for any necros playing in WW. Take Spectral Grasp. It is 5 targets and on a 35-second cooldown now in WW. Just rip people off walls, man. Just reach out and touch someone and then kill them.
In the game, right?
Yes, in the game.
Okay. So yeah, they kind of buff support / power Necro, which was interesting.
Which, to be fair, power Necro needs help, has always needed help. Again, they still need to get rid of Deathly Chill for Reapers, but I've been saying that for how long now?
Yeah. I wonder if Deathly Chill, if they wanted to make that more of a power spec, they would just change that to an increasing damage buff that stacks to a cap.
I would say that, like, attacks on chilled targets give you damage buff that stacks. So it gives you more incentive to keep chill on targets, and it gives counterplay of, like, I just need to get rid of chill, and then I reduce their damage.
Yeah. I'm still going to say Necro is still... I'm going to say it's viable still.
Yeah. I mean, when Mighty Teapot is going around with his 10-man Necro raids clearing wings, of course it's viable.
Yeah.
So...
And honestly, I use wells in World v World, and when we were doing 0 to Hero, I was enjoying myself. I mean, because I mean, granted, I don't play like everybody else does. I use the wells to basically strip boons from the enemy front line and turn them into conditions, and then turn the conditions on my front line into boons, and then I'm just like throwing out conditions there. But granted, like I know that's not the meta way to play, but it's like that's what I've enjoyed, and I'm enjoying these changes. I mean,
And you don't in WW, if you don't die and other people do die, you're fine.
is you honestly, if you use some of those wells at the right time, you can see their front line melt because all of a sudden all their boons and stuff that are keeping them alive are, yeah, they're starting to disappear.
However, here, death magic trait line, Reaper's Protection. Fear enemies when you are CC'd in an AoE around you. 60 seconds to 90 seconds. This trait competes with Deadly Strength, which is a percentage of your toughness is converted to power. It's 7%, but it's 14% while you're in Shroud. Admittedly, I kind of agree from time to time with Mithrin because stat conversion traits tend to be an almost negligible amount, but I like the Necro ones just because they actually like I like the duality of a lot of the Necro traits where it's like double the effectiveness while you're in Shroud, like the change to Vampiric Aura. I love the change to Vampiric Aura. But the other one, and it's funny that we were talking about minions in chat when we were talking about Mesmer, is Necromantic Corruption. Bonus minion damage. Minions pull conditions from you. Minions transfer conditions from themselves to targets they hit. This Reaper's Protection change is in PvP only. Who runs minions in PvP?
I'd love to, but
we tried. I think we did one night where it was me, Tavik, and Chevron. We all ran Zoo Necros in unranked, which was honestly kind of fun, but it was about as effective as you can imagine because minions don't benefit from the 90% damage reduction in PvP. So didn't do very well. Reaper's Protection, still in a PvP mindset, still better, though I think you could argue that Deadly Strength could be useful for a power Reaper in some situations.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the Necro? Well, let us move next to the Ranger. So, anything good come from the Ranger? I really haven't heard much response from the Ranger now that I've, like, from the community itself. But
Ranger got a lot of changes.
Yeah,
lot of Druid.
That's right. They did nerf the Druid. Now I do remember that.
And Druids needed it.
It did it in PvP, and I kind of just triggered myself just now because I wanted to check the forums of the initial change. And initially, they were going to do it for PvP Emerald versus World, but they just decided to do most of the Druid change for PvP. So I'm going to be very annoyed a little bit, but I understand why they did it, because Druid is the healer for Zergs. So if you don't have good access to your abilities, you're gonna kind of get screwed. So I understand that for roaming, it's gonna be annoying.
Yeah, but in like games like that where it's big warfare, that's why you protect the healer.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the trade-off. It's like, well, we're getting heals. Well, hopefully that person doesn't die. Like,
yeah.
So it's kind of weird that it's PvP only.
The reason it's PvP only is they were soloing. They were 1v2ing on points and staying at 100% and killing people.
Yeah. That's the thing with Druid. So you are able to literally survive encounters because you have good sustain, you have access to stealth, you have access to fairly decent Condi cleanse, and you have immunity. You have an immunity skill as well,
and a stealth.
Yeah, I mentioned the stealth. Believe me.
And
and you could like just keep alive, and you can have your pet do damage while you're like doing the survivability bits, and then you just keep attacking with your pet, and then you're taking damage. You do survive with it. You take time to heal up, stealth, whatever, and then suddenly your target's dead or has to run away because they can't stay.
It was like Chet's saying, Druid's got got to be in the back line this patch. It's like that. I mean, if they're going as a healer, I mean, in every game, it's like the healer like is the one that usually gets targeted first. That's why you gotta protect them. It's like,
I mean, it's one of those things where I don't mind that a healer can sustain. That makes total sense to me. But if they can sustain and kill you at the same time, then there's a problem.
exactly.
Other than that, I think there were some axe buffs in WVW.
Yeah, a bunch of axe buffs for both actually, PvP and Warlords.
Yeah, and that's cool. But my PvP only draw here actually has 2 changes on the same line.
Okay.
So shared anguish, when you're CC'd, it gets transferred to your pet. 60 seconds to 90 seconds. The other one on that line is refined toxins, which is while your HP and your pet's HP is over a certain threshold, you deal poison on hit, and it had a 5-second internal cooldown. They bumped that up to 15 seconds, which I understand because poison application in PvP, especially if you're a druid, it's like, I need to heal. The druid's putting poison on you when they have no poison abilities otherwise, constantly. And then ambidexterity is the one that it's competing with, which is torch and dagger cooldown stuff and plus condi damage when you're wielding a torch or dagger, which I'm assuming is offhand only. I can't remember the traits.
Well, soul beats you up main hand dagger.
Yeah, so I would assume that it's only if you have main hand dagger, but then again, your only offhands are what?
No, you have dagger and torch.
Dagger, torch, and axe. You can offhand axe, right? Yeah.
Yes.
That's the only one that wouldn't trigger it then. But shared anguish, I mean, if you're worried about CCs, if you don't have another stun break, this is the trait you're going to pick. Refined toxins, I didn't realize that was as big of a problem, but then I thought about it, and 33% reduction to healing in PvP, kind of a big deal. Ambidexterity, honestly, I can't see people using it in PvP, but at the very least, it's not a garbage trait.
Okay.
So this is the only line where I'm looking at it and I'm like, there's discussion to be had for all 3 traits. Sure, shared anguish is a pretty solid, this is your go-to for generic stuff, but the other 2 have their own merits here. So Ranger is at least doing well in my rundown of these PvP only changes.
Okay. Interesting.
Any final thoughts on the Ranger itself? I mean, that kind of, yeah. Next up, we have the Revenant, which, I mean, it definitely got some buffs, but it did get increased in like some of the cooldowns. So, so there was some good and some bad with it, but it seems like they're increasing bleeding duration on Razor Claw's Rage, increasing the damage. So it looks like their Renegade's getting a bit of an increase. Looks like Jalus's Vengeful Hammer is getting a little bit of a little bit of a buff since it's reducing the cost of it.
They pretty much buffed Jalus and Malix, which is actually good. They buffed the damage on Kala Legend a little bit, but I don't think it solves the problem. Malthus says it a lot. They just need to make those invulnerable, and just balance accordingly after that.
Yep.
Coalescence of Ruin got nerfed in World War Sword, and I'm actually really happy about that because that hits like a truck.
Yes, it does.
And then they hit passives per usual.
So. I have no words on the Revenant PvP only nerfs to the passives. They're like Eye for an Eye is the when CC'd do a thing, you gain protection and you taunt in an AoE, but Revenant's actually fairly cohesive with trait values, I think, but I don't see them often enough in PvP to know if they'd have a way to use traits other than the ones that were nerfed.
Feels bad, man.
Like
Revenant's not playing no. But for Jolly, real quick, if you want to try Guild Wars 2, there's like a play for free version you can try. So I suggest trying that out if you enjoy it.
You can play the original, the base game all the way up to level 80 for free.
Yeah. And I don't know about ESO if they have anything like that.
No, it's just buy to play. They do have occasionally free weekends or something like that, but they just had one. But if you want to get a taste for one of the games first, definitely try out Guild Wars 2. I've played both, so
Guild Wars 2 at least has the free option there. So
yeah, I enjoy both. They both do things differently. So
Yeah.
but for Zachryox, not familiar with Malix, but as a trait in Legend, what does it do? It's basically like the original Condi, like
Condi manipulation.
Yeah. So what they did is they for banished enchantment, they increased the number of boons you remove from 2 to 3. Pain absorption reduce the energy cost from 35 to 30. That is like any energy reductions are actually really good for Revenant, especially pain absorption, because that acts as a gather all the conditions from allies to yourself and give resistance to yourself.
Because what is it? Rip Condis from allies to you.
Yeah.
Grant resistance based on the Condis you've ripped.
Plus a base resistance. And it also acts as a stun break. So it's really good that it got buffed like that. And Embrace the Darkness got attribute bonus, extra 5%. So that's
also a
nice.
15% across the board attribute buff. That and the crazy thing about Banish Enchantment, I know this is it's actually an AoE that is in a line between you and your target. So if you aim at the back line at someone in range, you will actually rip boons in a line towards that person.
Never noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Cutie brings up interesting bit because for those who don't know, resistance when corrupted turns into immobilization, and that's kind of what sucks about playing Malix, because most of your Condi resistance when you're in Malix is using pain absorption. So when that gets corrupted, you have a lot of immob usually. And in World vs. World, it's just a nightmare. So
because you're going to be getting hit by like 4 scourges at any one point in time in a Zerg fight.
And that's when I come in with my well build and turning all your conditions into boons. And I go, hee 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 hee.
He actually does that when we play WW.
Yes.
There you go.
He giggles.
I love seeing the front line melt and mine gets bolstered. Anyway, any other thoughts on the Revenant?
I just want them to be viable again.
Yep.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't really take mine into World v World, and everybody knows I don't PvP. So
hashtag make Revenants great again.
Oh jeez. Next up we have the Thief. How did the Thief fare in all this?
Rip power DP for most people, because it just hits like a wet noodle.
Is that the auto attacks?
Yeah, I told you guys that auto attack nerf was not a good idea, and I was right. Look at that. I hit like a wet noodle in World vs. World. I don't know. In PvP, it might be a little bit okay, just because you're more focused on +1ing. So you're gonna be having a person help you kill someone. So it might be better there. But just in 1v1 scenarios, it's in World vs. World, it was just awful. Someone said to do Sword Dagger, and as awful as I was at Sword Dagger, it was much better option. I was doing a lot better. And acrobatics, it's still viable in World vs. World. I don't think it will be in PvP or as much, just because there are so many passives in there that they hit.
I just have the one because I want to keep it concise.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so it was hard to catch, which was break stun, refill endurance when you get CC'd. So it was a 45-second cooldown. It is now a 90-second cooldown. So they doubled the cooldown on this. It competes with Guarded Initiation, which is remove a Condi on hit while you were above an HP threshold, and Swindler's Equilibrium, which is evades while wielding a sword or spear, grant a recharge to steel, and bonus damage to sword and spear.
Yeah.
Age, I don't know how well those two compete with hard to catch, so you'd have to fill me in on that.
Guard initiation's pretty much useless because the thing that kills thieves most of the time is damaging conditions, and the only damaging condition you remove there is confusion, if I recall. There is slow, which kind of is annoying, but it's not as annoying as damaging conditions from my experience. Honestly, hard to catch is probably the thing you would want. Although I do like Swinder's Equilibrium.
Well, since you're saying sword is better now, would that
Swinder's Equilibrium is probably the way I go. Actually, just because as nice as hard to catch is, it's Swinder's Equilibrium having the extra damage and the reset on your steel is probably a lot better.
So I think this is one situation where they actually did make the best choice, not the one they nerfed anymore.
It's still because hard to catch is so high now. It's honestly it's probably not worth it. It's probably better to have Swinder's Equilibrium because Swinder's Equilibrium is at 30 seconds, so that's 3 opportunities to get steel resets versus hard to catch, which is 90 seconds, so it's 1 CC you're going to block. But you get endurance back, but still if you're running sword, you're running sword dagger usually, and even sword pistol has evades. So yeah,
I would assume that Swindler's Equilibrium would be well used for anybody using a sword. I would imagine, since it's a weapon type, it tends to be a little stronger because it allows for weapon choices.
At first, I was like, when did I use hard to catch? And it was for double dagger builds. That's when I used it. But Swinder's Equilibrium is better.
Okay.
When you're running sword. Yeah.
So much like Ranger, they're not too bad here. In this one instance that I pulled up.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I think I don't know. I have to test it to see if acrobatics is actually good in PvP. Maybe it's not as bad as I think it is, but we'll see. Oh yeah, and they hit pulmonary impact.
Good.
You know what? I accepted that, and I saw it was 29%, and I'm like, okay,
Is it damage or does it have an internal cooldown now?
No, it's reduction in damage. So basically, a third of the damage is gone, but you definitely see a difference in that.
I really just think it was fine with the damage that just needed an internal cooldown.
Yeah,
just because of headshot spamming.
Yeah, but I think the combination of pulmonary impact and the dagger auto attacks just kind of made powered dagger pistol really not worth. Honestly, I'm probably going to run my Condi dagger pistol build more. So I'm sorry in advance to people who I kill.
As you're doing it, just be like, "Oh, Rita, that made me do it."
Yeah.
I didn't want to be this monster. They made me this way. Anyway. Any other thoughts on the thief?
Don't nerf it anymore.
Let us move on to the warrior. So, how did the warrior fare in all this? Are they coming out ahead, or are they falling far, far behind now?
I have to go back, but there were always, when it comes to warrior, there's always a lot of things they change or update.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's we thought the ranger got a lot, but
they buffed Berserker.
Yeah, they buffed sword, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if it was doing a ton of damage or not. I thought sword was fine, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. QED has words to say, I guess.
Oh, QED's got words for warrior.
I thought he was talking about his. I thought he was just talking about his enjoyment of the expansion.
Boo.
Yeah.
Why do I not see anything about Spellbreaker's Orb of No Fun?
Full counter damage reduced by 14% in PP and World vs. World. Honestly, I don't have a problem with full counter. I never did at launch, even though I know a bunch of people did. I would just say like maybe a little reduction in damage at when it first launched, but that was it. Because honestly, it just promotes, and maybe I don't know how long the cooldown was, but basically, yeah, it's just paying attention. So either you hit them to trigger the full counter and you dodge right away, or you just watch.
Don't hit them
for the full counter. I like hitting them to preemptively get the full counter off. But yeah. Oh, right. Where is that?
No, I'm talking about the no fun, the elite, the no fun.
Oh, the no fun zone.
Yeah, like there's no nerfs for the no fun zone, which is up for far too goddamn long.
I don't know what to say about that. I run in Zergs every now and then, and I see it, but it doesn't really change much for me.
They chained 8 of them in a choke point age.
Okay, that's annoying. I'll admit that. But the thing, and I think Milthanos will talk about it as well, is the passive changes here. Defy Pain is just not worth it at all.
Not for the duration it's up, no.
It's so bad.
It's really bad.
It's so bad. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Defy Pain, it blocks all physical damage for 2 seconds.
Yep, 2 seconds, procs at 50% HP.
And now it's at 90 second. It has a 90-second cooldown for PvP only.
Yep.
That is not worth it. That just screams change this trait.
Now it's got a garbage trait that it competes with. Armored attack, toughness percentage into power, 10%.
Yeah.
And whatever. Like I could see warriors. I use paladin amulet.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh.
And then the final trait is Sundering Mace, which is CC from Mace, lasts longer on vulnerable targets, reduce the cooldown on Mace skills. I can see that coming through because that's still a very defensive option. Sundering Mace might be a thing that people run now. I mean, I run Mace Shield on my warrior just because, punching people is like amusing.
But some of them are kind of like, I don't understand. But
it was one of the things that killed me is that the lesser versions of these stances last for half the duration. So it's 4 seconds for the active, I believe. But they went ahead before and they have the duration and have the cooldown of the active ones to make them more like to shorten the window, but to give you the same technical uptime if you're talking about total uptime. Just so you had to be like,
yeah,
I mean, you're right, QED, but it's just really friggin' annoying. But for the PvP only changes, it's toughness to power and Sundering Mace. Sundering Mace is at least still seemingly viable. Defy Pain is just useless at this point, I think. And then I actually pulled 2 from Warrior because this is a big issue with stances. This is both in defense because Defy Pain is on the master tier for defense, and Last Stand, which you cast lesser balance stance at 50%, which gives you stability and it breaks stuns. And stances now give vigor, and stances now last 25% longer. That competes with Cleansing Ire, which is you gain adrenaline when hit, and you cleanse 1 condi per adrenaline bar spent whenever you spend adrenaline. It also competes with Rousing Resilience, which is you gain toughness and heal yourself while breaking a stun. Like, lesser balance stance was the clear best choice there prior, just if you wanted to survive, because what do you do in PvP? You CC and burn. It's like, call target, lock them down, kill them, call target, lock them down, kill them. I mean, it's a very simple thing to do, but here all the, lock them down responses are getting nerfed. I don't know, man.
Go ahead.
I just don't. Some of the things were like I don't know if they needed a buff or not, because it just seems like, did that really need a buff or not? And the others were just like, you need to change this. And that's how I felt about Warrior, I think, pretty much. I think, was there one change that I was like, oh, this is cool?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where I need to look at my Warrior build now, because I have some of these in there, but it's getting to a point where it's like, this trait is not of the same value of, like, Defy Pain, 90 seconds for 2 seconds of invulnerability. It's not worth it for the trait.
Yeah.
Like, it is not worth its own trait slot. I don't even know if that would be worth a minor trait in any case.
Yeah. The thing this was actually the thing I actually like. They reduced the cooldown on Rampage, so it's like 90 seconds now instead of 180. So, like, more Rampages are more fun. I like Rampage.
Well, they did that for a lot of the 3-minute cooldowns. They dropped the cooldowns sometimes in half. Like the Twister one for Elementalists is 100 seconds now. And they reduced the duration of the transform, but they also reduced the CD of the skills in the transform.
And that makes sense, but like Rampage every minute and a half, I like that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I dig that.
Any final thoughts on the Warrior itself? And I mean, what do you guys think of the balance overall? Was it?
I understand what they want to do with the passes, but honestly, some of them just needed changing with the traits. Some of them just needed changing.
Yep.
Some of the balance patches, some parts of the balance patch kind of were overdone in terms of nerfs, like my dagger auto attacks. And some of the things I just am unsure of. Some of the changes actually made were reasonable, but overall it kind of left me kind of half annoyed, half like okay with it. It's a weird feeling, I guess. Yeah.
I want to be able to play my Warrior again. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. But all you need is the no fun zone. But what are your thoughts on what Chad is bringing up? Looks like the coming ranked season is going to be a side node Mesmer mirror battle. Which...
I tried to fight. I tried to fight a Mesmer once, and there were a minimum of 6 of him running around for the entire 3 minutes that we fought. And I was never able to pin him down to the point where I could do anything to him.
Yeah. The whole...
that was prior to these nerfs, obviously. Yeah. But
the best way I've found to fight a Mesmer, if you really don't know how to, is just to use AoE to force them off the point, or to at least kill their clones. Because without clones, they won't be doing as much to you. But that's just my 2 cents. Try to obviously pin down the Mesmer, but you can't AoE the point, and it'll be yours if you force them off.
Yeah, but you have to keep them off because he wasn't on the point while I was fighting him.
Yeah.
But he was very, if I wasn't just actively doing something, he was going to kill me. And I ran out of cooldowns before he did.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to combine LOS sometimes with the Mesmer. Just because what's interesting is because clones will actually take the way it's programmed, they'll take a clear path to you. So if you're, for example, on a slant, and then you jump down from the top of the slant, they'll actually run around, try to shatter on you. So if you are
noted,
unless you're right near the slant and they're close to shatter proximity type of thing.
I mean, overall, do you think this is going to make for a good next season, or?
Watch the Unity Gaming tournament and find out for yourselves. That's the best I can tell you.
I mean, kind of speaking of PvP and a little bit of the Unity Gaming tournament. Oh boy. Well, in PvP, this I think broke Sunday, or maybe it was even Saturday night after our show, of course. But apparently there was another issue of account sharing occurred in the last EU monthly automated tournament. And so punishments were given out. Unfortunately, a lot of stuff it felt like it didn't happen fast enough, but to give benefit of the doubt, it did happen on a Saturday, and I think Chris Cleary kind of gave an immediate response. But they were like, I have to talk with the teams and stuff, and of course they're not there on the weekend. So, but I think in regular non-internet time, it was perfectly understandable. But I know some people on the internet are like, why isn't this happening as soon as possible? It's like, well, because they have lives as well. But let us talk about all the details and all that fun stuff. But so the punishments were doled out due to account sharing and a history of real money trading purchases. One of the accounts on the winning team has been suspended for 3 months and had all rewards removed from it from this monthly automated tournament. This includes any of the monthly automated tournament's rewards that would have been handed out as one of the winners of that tournament. They have permanently blocked the main account of the player responsible for playing on the shared account during the monthly automated tournament. And today, when they were saying it, they were looking at action against another one of the accounts on the winning team as well for receiving high value goods from the account that has been that was being shared during that time. The high value item was traded supposedly during that time frame. This account was also suspended for 3 months and had all monthly automated tournament rewards removed from that particular tournament. And he goes on to say he would also like to reiterate that while the accounts in question were involved in sketchy practices, had the one player played on their own account, the monthly automated tournament results would have been the same, and there was no impact on in-game gameplay. And the interesting thing about this is one of the people that it was dealing with was a partner. So the question came up of what happens to their partner status. And he does respond saying that he can't comment on the partner status of the partner program, but the partner team has been informed of this action. And they do go on to say account boosting in this manner is not acceptable, and they will continue to take action against accounts that they catch participating in this kind of behavior. So that's the first part, which let's maybe unpack that. But
stop fucking cheating.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
If you want the title, get good and earn it. That's it.
I think it's just a real shame that it's like the person in question that was supposedly, bought, was paid to do this, used to be like, they say was a partner, used to be when they had the esports thing, one of the players there. And a lot of people had brought the idea up of, it's like, well, they can't make money now from ArenaNet, like, from the tournaments. Now they'll do this type thing, which
you get a job, but
and that's a horrible way if that is their mentality, because I don't know, That's horrible. And honestly, if that is their mentality, if you're making money off of ArenaNet's IP, that might be a problem as well legally.
Yeah, I do want to say, like, apparently, like, it was just like one person who actually got permanently banned, and that was the person who was doing the sharing account thing.
Now, was that permanently banned from just PvP?
No, I think it's,
or just banned from permanently banned from the game itself.
It seems like it says we have permanently blocked the main account of the player responsible for.
So the main account is locked.
It seems like it's locked. And the other person, it's a completely different action, it looks like, but it looks like it just got high value goods from that account, that shared account. So you got suspended for 3 months. Yeah, so Cutie says the account's permanently banned. So there you go.
Okay, so the person that bought the thing has been permanently banned. Is what, because it says the main account player account of the player responsible for playing on the shared account. Okay,
so the pro player. Well,
yes. Okay.
The what annoys me. Okay, two things annoy me was that the person who actually bought the account has a history, but still got suspended for 3 months. And I'm like,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, really? That's the other thing that came up was that, I mean, they said it was this person had a history of real money trading. It's like, then, I mean, how many strikes are you giving this person? Because I mean, I don't think they said how many times beforehand, but they said a history. So we can only say this is their second time, if that. Like, I mean, it sounds like there might be more, but we don't know.
Once before.
Yes.
Yeah. So that kind of bothers me a little bit, just because as much as, you know, the players kind of cave into doing this, it's like players like this that kind of, you know, coerce them into doing it as well. And maybe we'll talk a bit about later about money and stuff, but and the other thing I wanted to hit on was, again, I would like to reiterate that while the accounts in questions were involved in the sketchy practices, had the one player played on their own account, the map results would have been the same and there are no impact on in-game gameplay. I'm not sure if that's the main point you want to make here. Oh. First, like, gameplay aside, like, maybe they could have 4v5 carried, sure, but I think the whole point about this is just the integrity of the game is being shot. Like, when I heard about automated tournaments coming in, like, I was happy for it, but then when I heard like a first win trading, the very first big monthly tournament, I'm like, well, this isn't worth it. I'm like, and
okay,
and
chat is saying, and I mean, we do want to show both sides of the thing. Apparently, one of the people in question that was involved in this says that the win wasn't bought. Neither them or the other person, the pro players, got anything for doing this. They said in their stream that they did it because the person has done a lot for UGO, which is Unity Gaming Organization, which we've talked about in the past, and we'll be talking here later about.
It was purely account sharing, it seems like.
So, why though?
Yeah,
like when you this has been a thing. You don't account share. Any PvP enabled game, like literally any game, is just like, don't account share. Every MMO has that in their TOS. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
It's easy to follow that.
But I mean, it is suspicious that something of high value was traded while that account was, you know, in that shared state. I mean, if that is the case, and that is being reported by an ArenaNet dev, so I have some reason to believe it, that they're not just saying this as a vendetta to for whatever reason that,
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. With Zen skill level, like obviously, like yeah. If everyone played on their main accounts, I'm sure they would have won, obviously. But
again, that's not the point. Don't share your accounts.
And when I said they probably could 4v5 carry, they probably could 4v5 carry. Like, no joke. But it's just I don't know. It's I think the punishment always leaves me kind of questioning it. I don't know.
So Zachryox, you bring up a solid point, and this is actually something I was talking about with my wife when I was listening to the next bit that we're going to talk about here, is that, yes, people account share. I have done jumping puzzles for my wife. I have stood up, I have walked over to her computer, I've done a jumping puzzle when she's like, I'm too frustrated with this right now, you do it. But jumping puzzles aren't competitive. Jumping puzzles do not have a culmination of a tournament, of daily tournaments followed by a monthly tournament. Jumping puzzles don't matter in the long scale of things. There is no prestige to jumping puzzles. Ranked PvP, automated tournaments, the whole point is prestige. That's the entire point of it. That's why you get the little floaty thing above your head. That's why you get the unique title. That's why you get several hundred gold out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, it's their decision to do, right? Right. If they get caught with it, they have to accept penalties. It's just unfortunate, I guess. Maybe they thought they would just get slapped with 3-month ban and that would be it. But I don't know. Know.
Apparently, some of them did. It's like, okay, they get a vacation.
I just. Yeah, I don't know. I guess QD kind of summed it up. Deeply disappointed.
I kind of agree with you, chat. The more these stories come out, less and less people will take PvP seriously. I was saying it, and I mean, this is kind of leads into the next thing. Like, when this first broke, I think it was like I said, Saturday night or Sunday morning. I saw Jebra response and was like, I think just kind of a disappointment. I think later he tweeted out like, trying to drum up like, the positivity of the PvP community. I'm like, part of me, I'm like, hats off to you. Like, I really want you to, but you are fighting an uphill battle, because I feel like, and I'm sorry to say this, I feel like the arena devs aren't even on this, like, trying to, like, do good with the PvP. Like,
yeah, part of me, like, this is kind of the reason I left, because there were just so much win trading. There's win trading, manipulation, leaderboards, things like that. It's just, and it doesn't feel like there was enough done to stop that. So but now, like, a part of me wants to just come back so I could show like the good size of PvP is still fun. It's just, I don't know.
It was, yeah, you're right, Fenris. Is like that towards the end of the last PvP season, I didn't want to play. I ended up bronze 1 for this past season because the last ranked match I played was February 7th.
Yeah, because you were doing pretty strong. You were like, what, platinum?
I was pushing gold 3 into platinum 1.
Yeah.
And then everything just absolutely went to shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
because yeah, I think the bots and the win trading comes in around your level, so
it got bad. People would just like, oh, we lost the first team fight, AFK. It's like people get so frustrated with like, I lost 2 games, and it's like, if you just keep playing, just keep playing, accept losses, do what you can to improve yourself, and try and communicate with your team.
Yeah, there was It was Shrimp, actually. Yeah, he told me about this thing. It's just this mentality concept of the 30-30-40 split. So 30% of your games you're just going to lose, 30% of the games you're just going to win, and 40% are just like it's up in the air, but it's in your control. The 30% where you win or lose, 60% of that is just out of your control, but the 40% is. So that's kind of like the mindset that you can have.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. But for me, it's just like if you're, this is kind of going on a tangent, but if you find yourself losing a lot of games, like one day I was it was one Saturday, which was a terrible time to queue. Saturday morning, I was on, this is season 3 or 4, and I was I was in gold, but then like I dropped out because like I was just losing game after game. I lost like 8 to 10 games in a row. It was brutal, so I just stopped and I did unranked for a little bit, and that's it. I just going away, taking a break, it helps.
And honestly, QD brings up a good point that, you know, like we were talking about in the previous weeks when we had all these other things, and we were like, I think I was even shocked when I'm like, so they got kicked out of ranked, but they can still play monthly tournaments where they can make loads of money. It's like, you know, they're talking about the punishment of the known win traders from ranked season 2 weeks before this incident got a 3-month ranked and unranked ban, but were able to participate in tournaments. But in this situation, the particular person plays on a different account and gets permanent banned. I agree.
It's yeah, that's the problem I have actually. I don't know Zan's history. I don't know it when it comes to like infractions and stuff. I can't tell if he deserves a permanent ban or not. It seems in this particular case, it seems unbalanced.
But without knowing everything that ArenaNet knows,
I need to, yeah. I just need to know more information. For what I see, like for this incident, it just seems unfair.
And the thing that bugs me is there's a lot of people putting a lot of this on the PvP devs and the PvP team. Yeah, sure. Can you argue that the PvP team hasn't been as attentive to the game type and they need to act faster? Yeah, sure. You can say that, but they're not at fault for the win traders. If people didn't act like dick weasels in the first place.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, if people actually catch people out, Arena does act on it. So at least that's the good part. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of hoping that they'll put systems in place to catch people out a little bit faster, or in the moment type of thing. But.
Well, I mean, I guess we can progress this story of, you know, we're moving through the week, and during, I think, one of Jebro's streams, because we talked about this last week, that the Uni Gaming Organization is going to be doing their monthly tournament thing again. They're starting up here soon, which we'll talk about that later. But in response to that, you can, if you want to, you can donate money to the prize pool and, you know, different things and gold or whatever. But one of the bigger people that apparently donated was apparently I think I said the remarks, because unfortunately there was a highlight out there of like kind of Jebber's response, but unfortunately Twitch clips usually don't. It's tough because they're very limited on time. But I think one of his past broadcasts you kind of see the whole thing, which helps a little bit because it did raise questions. There was a Reddit post with just the Twitch clip on it, and I was like, well, these responses are possible if, you know, unless I see all the rest of the stuff, which honestly the person was saying like that they felt that these two players should be allowed to participate in the tournament. And I think at the time Jebro didn't even make the decision yet. He was still debating on whether he wanted them to be banned or be able to participate in the tournament. And the person was basically set, I guess ideas were they want the best PvP players versus the best PvP players, which understandable. And I think Jebra was like, yeah, but the things that they've done, and what we might see like in maybe the next time around, if things change, maybe then they can be a part of it. But the person then kind of said, well, maybe I'll just take my money back out or something. Which
it's like,
why don't you ban my donation then?
That was it. Yes, that was the exact words. And unfortunately, that's not part of the Twitch clip, because people were starting to reference of, I can understand about having the best PvP players, but play the best PvP players, because that's kind of a point of a tournament, really. And honestly, I was curious of how it was worded when Jebro actually talked about the issue, because on one side, if I could see the person saying, well, I'm not gonna support you, I'm not gonna donate next month, which if that would have been the case, it's like I would have been on the side of that person being like, well, that's that's how sponsors work. I mean, if you're not doing what they want you to do or not enough for them, they can pull out. Now, to take the money back out once you put it in, that's where I'm just like, that's a little crummy. But
you don't make a donation to a charity and say, oh, I'm sorry, I need that money for something else.
Well,
yeah,
that's a big problem on Twitch in general, is people will make these giant $10,000 donations and then just contact their credit card company and dispute the charge.
I was thinking of that, and I really do think that if people actually do that, that a judge should just say, no, you have to pay it. Like, even if
there have been cases where people, like, I think people have done that. Like, it happened to a kid that I think had their parents' credit card or something and racked up all these points. I was like, I can't even imagine what their parents are probably like, I'm gonna just
yeah.
But no, that's happened where judges are now going, no, you actually did that. You have to pay for it. But anyway,
it all comes down to parents. You need to make sure your kids aren't using your money for stupid
hide your
things.
credit cards.
Yeah, hide your credit cards, your PayPal account, all that.
They be buying everything up in here.
Yeah. Lock it behind like a math problem. At least if they start spending your money, at least they learn something out of it. But
my opinion on Jebro's response, like, one, I thought his, I don't like to use the word amusing for somebody's rage at something, but like, the man can rant, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
like it was a solid rant to listen to, and I feel the emotion behind it, and the man just wants a good environment to PvP in, and I think that's a great thing to work towards, and that's what Unity is trying to do with Unity, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier, I hope he can make that happen. I just kind of like what QED's saying, the PvP community started shrinking with ANET's neglect of PvP. It's like, I just don't, it's almost, it feels like a sinking ship in the PvP game mode.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I constantly bring up time-gated rewards for the ranked, is that you will get more people in PvP if there are rewards that they can only get by getting, like, the ticket system that I talked about before, is, you finish a certain place in ranked, at the end of a season, you get an end of season reward, gets you unique skins. And then those skins go away. That would increase the ranked population. You would get turnover from unranked to ranked. Because I know there are people who play unranked because nobody bothers you in unranked. If you're playing a wonky ass build, if you're keyboard turning, ain't nobody gonna yell at you. It's unranked. Who cares? You're still getting PvP track rewards.
Yeah, there are three things I feel like that kind of helps with PvP. It's rewards, good balance, and your maps and gameplay when it comes to the maps. I think like those three things are actually really helpful in having a good PvP game. I think what's being horribly neglected is the balance, and a lot of people will say that because the balance cycle in this game is very long for PvP. But since this is an MMO, there are other modes to take into account. And I've said this before. And that's just the unfortunate part of it. When it comes to gameplay and maps, there are things like reduced sizes of point captures, or changes to Skyhammer and how that works, things like that. Those types of changes actually impact if people want to play on that map or not, and things like that. But I think mostly the balance comes first for most PvP players, and then rewards.
I think they need to be quicker on the PvP balance, because Scourge got released in the middle of a PvP season, and I stopped playing ranked PvP because playing against Scourges sucks, especially on release. I don't know about now. I'd have to hop back into PvP, but even before these previous nerfs, playing against Scourges still sucked.
Probably still sucks.
And I do want to say, like, I think. Oh, sorry, you were continuing.
No.
I was say when Zacharyox said, I was saying about the person said that they could just ban their donation, and I think chat was joking around, was saying like no takebacks type thing. And I will say, Jebro did say, if you want the money back, go for it, because he wasn't going to deal with that kind of,
Yeah, I think
stuff. So kudos to.
Yeah. But, but by the way, guys, if you want to, you could donate a free $1 to the Unity Gaming Organization. You just have to go to the page and just click on the thing. It's pretty easy to do. But yeah, I don't know what else to say, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think I've pretty much said the same thing every time this happens, but
stop it. Yeah. And I think that was the point I was getting at with what Zacharyox was saying is PvP at this point in time just gone so downhill that it's at a point of no return. While I don't play it, I hope not, because people do enjoy it. I mean, like I said, I hope Jebro is able to revitalize it, but I mean, if it just feels like there's no development power going behind it, like it's almost like they're bailing water on a sinking ship. It's like,
yeah. Yeah. It just needs work.
I mean, if we want to continue talking about this, we can talk about it during the after show, or if it's on YouTube. But we'd love to hear everybody's thoughts, and let's not attack certain people. And make sure if for whatever reason you are the type of person to hunt someone out, and I'm not saying to do it, just if you are that inclined to do it, make sure you're doing the right person, because I know some names seem similar to some other streamers that stream Guild Wars 2, so it might seem like you're yelling at the right person, but you're
oh yeah, I know what you're referring
to. Yeah. So I've seen that throughout the past week too. So just make sure, if you are so inclined, and I'm not saying to do it,
people were mistakenly angry tweeting.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe on Reddit, like names that are similar or stuff like that. But yeah, it happens all the time, but because people are angry and don't know how to spell check. Next up, if that guy's pulling out all of his money, he's got some money to spend. You can spend it on the gem store. And always thank you to Dolphy.net. Check out Dolphy.net so you can spend your gems more wisely. So first up, oh boy, we have the mounts. There's new mount skins. So there are 3 new sets, 15 in total. So, basically 3 in each of the different mount types. And this time, these are in these RNG boxes we've been talking about. Like, oh no, what are they doing? The adoption license random skins for 400 gems each. Now it is a separate one. So if you never bought into these, if you do like some of these ones, you don't have to have it go after a pool of what would have been like. It's not a pool of all of them. They're separate sets kind of a thing. So if you just like these ones, you can buy that particular type. But they did this time around come out with a select license. So you can get a skin of your choice. And all you have to do is pay 1,200 gems for one. You can, you'll get a particular choice for 1,200 gems, as opposed to 400 gems for a random chance at any of these 15 skins.
So wait, how much is one if I want to choose it?
3 times the cost of the license.
Yes. And it still has the same functionality of once you unlock one, you can't get duplicates, stuff like that. Like that hasn't changed anything like that. But
I am actually really disappointed that this is a completely separate set. Like when I talked about the point Wooden Potatoes made in his video about, why he just kind of was meh about it, is that the marketing team was looking for sustainable ways to modularly add more monetization to the game. The mount license system is great because you just have this pool, you have the random licenses, you can't get a repeat, and they just add more to the pool whenever they have a new set of skins. So people can just buy one item. And again, like Mo has always said, their gem store isn't really good for displaying a large batch of items. Yet here they are adding another fucking item.
mm-hmm.
One, that's my first point there, is that set 2, dumb. Stop it. Second point, I actually like the quality of the skins. The quality of the skins are a lot higher than simple like model swaps. Or this is basically the base model, but you have 4 die channels. I would pay 800 gems for each of these skins. 800 to 1,000 gems for each of these skins. Especially the Exalted Griffin. That looks dope, man.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
And honestly, I know some people out there were surprised that they came out with another set of this box. It's like, you do have to remember, and I think we even said this when they put out the post of the original Mountgate stuff, and they said, we're not going to put any more in this bundle. Like, they never said they weren't going to ever do it again. So for the people that were surprised by that, unfortunately, you didn't read carefully enough. But I do want to read the, like, after the, the original, like what they say after they explain the new system.
Oh God, yeah.
The original mount adoption license proved to be a popular item for mount skin collectors, so we want to continue offering the same level of variety to players who enjoy it, while at the same time offering players a way to get the specific skin they want. As we explained in our previous message, offering a random draw option makes it possible to design a wide variety of skins to suit every taste. We love seeing how players customize mount skins to suit their characters, and we hope you have as much fun using these skins as we did creating them.
What does having a random draw have to do with designing a bunch of mounts?
They can make more money off of it.
See,
because you might not get the one you want.
Praise Joko, by the way. The thing is, okay, so I'm trying to be civil about the mount skins, right? I'm trying to see, like, okay, the artists put in a lot of time to design and make these mount skins, right?
Yep.
And they should get a fair price for them. Like, just like same thing with like custom cosplay, with like character drawings, with whatever. It's fine. Now, if you personally like, I saw a tweet about someone who wanted to make a cosplay for somebody, and it was a really complicated cosplay with armor and stuff. It would have cost around $750-800 bucks. Now I know that sounds like a lot of money,
but there's a lot of work that goes into it.
But there's a lot of work that goes into it. Like I did Blade for Halloween, that cost me around $400 in total.
Most of it was probably just that jacket, wasn't it?
It was like a third of it, but basically the idea is, and that was not made, that was just buying different articles of things to put that together. Like someone's actually putting time and effort into making a costume to fit you perfectly. And that person who wanted that cosplay wanted it for $100 or less. That is ridiculous. There are Halloween costumes that come out that aren't like they aren't high quality or anything like that cost more than that. And I understand, like from an artist perspective, you should ask for what you want to get paid for. If you don't like it, don't go on a rant or anything like that. Just say, I don't like this, so I will just either take my business elsewhere or I just won't purchase it. And this is how I kind of feel with the mount skins. Now, I don't know who's doing the pricing for this, right? I do like some of the mount skins, but I feel like they're a little expensive for the way they're being displayed out, like they're being portrayed to me. Quite honestly, I've just been burnt down on purchasing mount skins because I just feel like it's been too long and I haven't get the delivery system. I don't know the word I'm looking for in my head, but basically I'm not getting what I want, and so I just won't buy it. And that's just how I feel right now.
Like, and I kind of agree with Zekriox's point is that the 1,200 gems is punitive pricing. Like, I feel like the only reason they're priced at 1,200 instead of the 800 to 1,000 that I think is equivalent to a lot of the other art assets they put onto the gem store is because it's punitive pricing. They want to draw people to buying the mount license because you are more likely to spend more money there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much, and you know, QED bring up like, you know, the forgetting that there's no monthly sub. I know there's no monthly sub. I want to give ArenaNet my money. I really do. I think they make a great, I spent $35 on gems to get the lion. I love the lion. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Also,
But-
you know, I know when people say that, they are looking at the spectrum of, because WoW does mounts for $25 and stuff, but there are games, I consider Trove an MMO. My money can go a lot further mount-wise than I can in Guild Wars 2 or WoW, and that's a free-to-play. That's not even, like, there's an optional monthly thing that you can do for perks and stuff. But
Yeah.
this is a spectrum. You're justifying it by the extreme of WoW that's allowed to just get away with everything, but you know, that's a different topic altogether.
The other thing is that the gem market is completely different from WoW because there's gold to gem transfer.
Yeah.
You can't compare one MMO's monetization to another's unless they are the exact same systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in terms of for Guild Wars 2, the money that they're making off these mount skins are coming off of what are termed as whales. There are people who have money to spend, and you know, they just want the thing, right? So they're willing to spend the money. Those are the people who are kind of keeping the game alive, as it were, when it comes to the gem store. And it's not really aimed. I feel like it's not real. The mount skins aren't really aimed at my demographic, I guess. But hey, if that's what ArenaNet wants and they see they're making money off of the mount skins, then they're just going to keep doing it. And you know, I have to accept that. So
it's one of those things where it's like, I will buy mount skins when I want to buy, like I will buy stuff from the gem store when I want to buy stuff from the gem store. I have no problems giving ArenaNet my money. It's the delivery system that I quibble with. Loot boxes have long been, and yeah, EA is the thing that blew it up, and I think that the original Mount Gate had a problem because the Battlefield 2 eruption was right before it, but people don't like that feeling of you open up a box and it's garbage. I mean, people have been complaining about the two blues and a green from jumping puzzles for how long?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you do Troll's End and it just doesn't feel rewarding, and then you just do it once for the achievement, and then you never do it again. It's
yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like you are psychologically manipulating people into gambling, and it's the same. Yeah, I know there's the quibble about you can't cash out, so it's not technically gambling, but you're paying money wanting a thing, and you might not get that thing. Sure, you get something else, but like the only time I'm ever on my skimmer is if I have to go over water. I'm never going to buy a skin for my skimmer willingly. So if I open up one of those mount boxes and get a skimmer, I'm going to be disappointed because in my perception of it, it's nothing.
And part of me is feeling like it's at, and I think in the past, I think I did say I'd like to see 400, 800, 1200, because honestly, I think the 2K mounts should be 1200. I think they should have the mount licenses in there for 400, or call them like mount tokens or something, and have like maybe the standard ones be 400, like one license or one token. So it's 400 gems or traded in. Then like kind of middle tier ones be 800. For you have to buy 2 tokens, and then maybe like I said, the 2K ones I could kind of see, since they give them unique animations and stuff like that. To that, there's a little bit more effort that goes into it. I could see that. For me, it's been I've been priced out of it, and at this point, I've been so drawn out of Guild Wars 2's gem store that I haven't like. I'm arguing it for the sake of what both sides have been saying. I won't be purchasing any of these. I have no interest in purchasing any of these because ArenaNet has basically pushed me out value-wise, you know, of the game, personally.
My actually brings up a good point. But as long as there's a demographic that pays for skins and the majority of people play the game for free, what exactly is the complaint? I think the idea is just that despite there being a demographic that buys the mount skins, there's just no other way for people like me or people who want mount skins but don't have necessarily the finances or the time to get the gold to buy these skins.
And that's the thing. And people will always say, make gold and put in the gems. And I've seen people say this literally have they put in anything to go and achieve in the game anymore? Like, if you want anything fashionable, it's like you're grinding gold to gems, and if you're doing that, you want to do it the best way possible, so you're going to the same thing over and over. It's not rewarding. Yeah. I feel like I'm in a mobile game. Like,
and it's one of those things where, like I said, I want to give ANET my money. I do. I think they make a great product. But Deo's saying that he's priced out. I'm kind of on that edge too. It's like, I want to be able to buy a thing and give them money and help them sustain this business. But I look at these price tags and it's just like, you don't want me buying this. You don't want me helping keep the game alive because it's too expensive for the time I put in the game.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm not mad. Like, and I agree with like, and I think we talked about this past. It's like, clearly I'm not the person you're trying to go after. I'm not your demographic anymore. I'll go to a game that wants my money. I mean,
yeah, it's not like I'm not going to stop playing the game. It's just that I'm just not going to spend my money in this game.
Yeah,
and if they're making money off of the demographic that they're aiming for, then and I guess everyone wins in that respect.
The only problem I have with that is because EA quite honestly fucked up in such a spectacular manner. I worry that that's going to not be as available a demographic because I feel like legislation is going to get introduced. I think this past week there was a story of it was some kind of online casino kind of game, and it went up kind of like higher in the chain of the judicial system, and it eventually was required like that they had to refund this person the money. So there is now starting to become precedent for this gambling stuff that, you know, because I think in that game too, they even explained you can't cash out in it, similar to this. It's like, but so it's things are starting to get shaky with this kind of stuff, but right now it still is okay. I feel horrible saying that, but
yeah, no, it's just, I actually had to explain because this week when I was raiding, and it was like I hopped on my Raptor, and it's like, oh, you don't only have default Raptor. I'm like, yeah, it's because of this reason. You know what? If people want to buy skins, I'm totally happy with them. Like, go for it if you want. It's it's just not for me right now. And
there's been many skins to earn just playing. Are you referring to mounts or skins in general?
I'm talking.
No, I'm with chat. I'm not sure. They were saying I bought one mount using gold. Other than that, I've just got on playing. There's been many skins to earn just playing. If you're referring to mounts, no, there hasn't.
That's kind of the problem.
Okay, skins in general. All right. Yeah, I honestly, the most skins we've had put into the game was launch. We really didn't have a lot for hot.
To be fair, at launch they would have had to put a bunch of skins.
Yes.
Like that's kind of the point. They started the game.
But I was gonna say, to be fair, if we always want to bring up WoW in comparison, WoW's expansions introduce a lot of skins to their stuff, whereas Hot and POF have kind of been lax.
You kind of have to look at WoW though, is that they don't have dyeing in WoW. A lot of the WoW skins tend to be recolors of the same model.
Okay.
Like the raid tier stuff, usually the exact same thing, different colors.
Yeah.
I'd still like to see a side-by-side because it still feels like with WoW, it may not be as many as you first think, like you're saying with the tiers, but
Warcraft is not nearly as intricate as some of the Guild Wars 2 stuff.
Okay.
See, if they put in like an in-game achievable mount skin that took me like legit 6 months to get, like they could put time gating, whatever. As long as it takes me like at least 6 months to get, and they did that every 6 months, I'd be fine with that.
Or like one, like I think originally what Jim was saying, like way back with first mount gate, saying like one that just gives you 4 dye channels because it feels so lackluster.
So my entire thought is you hit max mastery on a mount, open up a collection that is a master rider, and you can get an armored version of that mount.
Yeah. See, the reason they'll never do that is because they want to sell the dye channels in the gem store. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
I figured that
to answer
out,
the question, do you think you'll get an Arene skin from Living Story? No, because we might be able to play on it with a model, but no, they'll sell that in the gem store for 2K. I guarantee you.
Yeah, that seems
the nostalgia there, your buddy, the whole, all the way through. It's going to be a gem store item. Now they might have a mission where you're flying on Arene as like a thing to be maybe like entice people, but
Arene's current model is the Griffin model, but
And I think I said this last time, what Mithrin's saying about they got the branded pack. Branded pack was the closest I was willing to get it because I liked all 5 mounts. So for me, it was, a 400, gem price point. But like I said, at that point, Arena, it's kind of already priced me out where I'm like, I'm not playing as much. This money could go further in other games that I'm playing a little bit more of. So it's like, and like I said, that's personally for me, but I honestly, I would recommend the branded mount pack because I thought that was beautiful. And like I said, if you like all 5 of them,
well done.
Yeah. No offense, did you get you got the lion one, right?
Yep.
And that's it?
That's it.
Okay.
I've basically only ever spent my gems after that on account utility stuff that I'll continue to get value out of. I bought the Copperfed Salvage-O-Matic. I was sad I missed the sale on the Silverfed Salvage-O-Matic, but bought a bank slot recently. I actually bought a bag slot.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if I should feel bad about that, but I often run into inventory problems on my Guardian in the first place. So sure, why not? But it's one of those things where like the cosmetic options, there are no more armor skins, and I love the skin system in Guild Wars 2 is my favorite skin system out of any game that I've played that has one. Outfits just are not my thing, and we're just getting bombarded with outfits and piecemeal armor. And it's piecemeal armor that I look at and I'm like, this won't fit. Like in a Blue Moon, I bought the faux fire gauntlets, the wraps, because they fit on my Guardian.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like it's really hard for me to look at anything in the gem store and be like, yeah, I'll buy that. So
I mean, it has to say it goes to say something that during Hot, when I bought a lot of gliders. Like I eventually had made sure to I literally have to stop myself with the mounts. Like I said, mount gate and the increased price of 2K mounts. I was personally so disinterested. I'm like, this is just too too much for me personally, a splurge of like, yeah, I'll get it, because 400 gems or maybe even 500 for like some of the the gliders, you can kind of make that as a quick judgment call.
Yeah.
But for me, like,
it 400 gems for a random mount, like, sure, maybe I'll spend some, like, once I like, because I've been getting in the habit of buying 50 gems from gold every week, because I can make the 10 to 15 gold I need for that. If I don't see anything else I want, I'll maybe buy a mount license. But the mount license, the RNG makes it worth far less in my eyes than anything else possible on the gem store.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, in the end, I mean, any final thoughts? Because at this point, pardon the joke here, but it feels like we're beating a dead horse. Granted, we don't have a horse for a mount, but
there are no horses in Tyria.
Yeah,
that we know of.
There are horse people, no horses.
Yes, but any final thoughts on the mounts themselves? Because we still have a couple of gem store stuff, and
not gonna buy them. I mean, they look good. I like the assets. I can't justify 1,200 gems for what is considered the baseline model. Like I justified 2,000 gems for one of their premium skins, and
yeah,
I'm gonna stop there.
I'm priced out myself. That's a good term. I'm pretty much priced out on mounts. I will say though that when it comes to RNG, I like Overwatch's loot boxes because you could buy them, but you could also earn them by playing. So that's why I kind of give Overwatch a pass when it comes to loot boxes. But yeah.
I think Overwatch's problem though is the sheer amount of stuff in the loot boxes.
Yeah, they've been better about that as of late, but
well, I mean, we can continue all that stuff after show, and like I said, on YouTube. Like, I'd love to dig deeper and talk more about all the loveliness of RNG and all that fun stuff. But speaking of RNG, they did put out a new dye kit, the Elonian Beast dye kit, and you can see it here. They have the Hydra color, the Iboga color, the Choya, the Desert Harpy, the Sand Shark, and the Jacaranda. And it is one kit for 125 gems, 5 for 500, 25 for 2,500 gems. And do remember that this is a pool of things, so you're not guaranteed to get this one. Maybe they'll put in a Elonian Beast dye kit license that you can pay 4 times the amount for and get to pick the dye.
Just 3.
Oh, sorry, 3. Where are my manners?
What?
Yeah, you can pay it's 100, 250, 375 to get your choice of dye.
Yeah.
375 for one dye.
Yeah, that doesn't exist, but just for people that are confused. But yeah, this is once again a chance at the particular dyes, or you're gonna get ones that are common in the game already. But
I'm just curious. Maybe it's like just me, but why are Desert Harpy and Sand Shark blue colors? Doesn't feel like they should be blue colors.
I don't know.
Like, I've never really looked at the colors of the Desert Harpy's feathers because they usually have the giant red no fun zone bubbles around them.
Oh, yeah, that's also true. I don't know. I do like the Sand Shark blue, but
the Sand Sharks are blue. It's just you usually can't see them because you're both blinded and in a dust storm.
And Chad, I agree with you. I've never cared about the dye kits in the gem store. I care about dyes because fashion wars and everything. But yeah, I've never been I think all of us never been a fan of the dye kits because once again, it's
the only reason I have any of the unique dyes from the gem store dye kits is because of my birthday packs.
Yeah, because
I have all of my characters are, barring one Char who I made as a spellbreaker, 3 years old minimum.
Yeah, I only bought one. Like I maybe it was a dye from a dye kit, but that was just because I needed a specific dye for my hood for my Assassin's Creed character cosplay thingy.
But you bought that from the marketplace, right?
Yeah, I bought it from Marketplace.
So, and that's the thing. These are tradable, so you could find these if you wanted to on, the Black Lion Trading Company, but you are going to pay probably more for them because they are harder to obtain.
Because Mac. Because
people might care about dice.
Because it's news. But also, like, and I mean, I don't think I have to ask this, but are you guys going to be picking any of these up? That's what I thought. So let's move on to the March Madness. For people that are watching live, this is probably the clincher here because this should be the last day. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you're probably missed this opportunity, but throughout the week there's been things like the Electromagnetic Ascender, Descender, the Bloodstone Ascender stuff, Profane Light Armor skin, the Primeval Heavy Armor, stuff like that. Raven Spirit Glider, pretty cool one. But today you can actually get the Aviator's Memory Box for 160 gems, which is 60% off. The Bobblehead Laboratory for 160 gems, which is 60% off. The Box of Fun, which is 5 for 128 gems, and that's 60% off. And the Water Fight Balloon Bucket for 200 gems, which is 60% off. Now, Aviator and Bobblehead are kind of like, I guess, maybe are a nod to past, April Fool's jokes, but they are basically a permanent effect of Aviator 1. You make an airplane noise and kind of have your hands stuck out to the side. Bobblehead sounds exactly what it is. It gives every character a bobblehead on your screen until you zone or whatnot. Box of Fun have been there. Are they still using some of the legendaries, like Gen 1 ones? I'm not sure. I know the original recipes required some of them, but I don't know about the new ways to obtain them. But they're just little party favorites you can throw in town that people can grab from. The Water Fight Balloon Bucket is an item you place on the ground, and anybody can kind of grab to it. And I don't think it has a limit on it unless I haven't found it. But
the Balloon Bucket and the April Fool's ones are unlimited, right?
The
Box of Fun, that's a consumable.
You can put them down as many times as you want, and I don't think there's a limit on when people can go up to them. There might be a timer that despawns them, but you can always put them back down. Oh, and chat is saying 1 free Sab box in the gem store as well. So.
Okay. Nice. Those are actually cool. I like those.
I would recommend the Water Fight Balloon Bucket. I mean, for anybody that's been here for the G-Band days, I wish there were still more bundle items that gave these kind of things, because with the Water Fight Balloon Bucket, we've played, Coup of Duty, stuff like that. And I like the idea that one person can place the item and other people can pick up the weapons to play it. So if there was multiple of these, you can almost have almost like class battles that it's not requiring the other person to have made this purchase. So I don't know. I like it for the activity side of things. So I'd love to see more of these, but yeah, I would recommend the Water Fight Balloon Bucket, but that's only if you're into that kind of goofing off stuff.
Is it weird when it comes to the Water Fight Balloon Bucket? I think of Nirvana's Team Spirit. Smells like Team Spirit. I don't know.
I like it. Yeah.
Just comes in my head. I feel stupid. Anyway, yeah, I agree. Water Fight Balloon Bucket's pretty good. If you want to be a cruel person, buy the Aviator Memory Box or Bobblehead and just put it over stuff that people use.
Don't say that.
Look, if I have to suffer, everyone else has to suffer.
You're making the suffering worse.
Yeah, but
and you know what? Add on to that. If you're doing that, just follow Age Brown and just start doing it. Since he likes it so much, since he wants to share the joy.
I'll be in World versus Worlds.
But yeah, any other thoughts on the gem store in general?
Arena, I want to give you my money. Please stop making it so difficult.
Sab bounce tomorrow? Maybe? we'll see. Find out.
That would
on the
be
next
interesting. Yeah, I know a lot of people were asking like for them. Like I saw chat saying Shortcut Eagle. I heard that loads of times for the Griffin.
That's actually a brilliant idea.
Yeah. So we shall see. Hopefully, maybe.
The frog is the Springer.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Ain't that write that down? But last up in the community corner, we talked about last week and kind of a continuation of what we were talking about before. The Unity Gaming Tournament. It's back for 2018. They're doing EU and NA. So NA is going to be April 15th. EU will be April 22nd. They do allow class stacking. Only one elite and core spec from classes are allowed. So, for example, you can have a core warrior, a berserker, and a spellbreaker, but you can't double up on it in that sense.
Yeah.
But players may play in both regions with the understanding that ping is a thing. So, you got to play with what you got. So, if it's pretty good, you're good. Any thoughts on the Unity Gaming Tournament?
Go nuts.
Yeah.
Jebro is a good man trying to bring happiness to PvP. Support him.
Yeah, definitely. Like we said all previously, we don't have to, if you want to see all of our thoughts about that, go back up. We'll have timestamps on the YouTube video. But yeah. Also, Games Love and Life has done a Let's Play series. We talked about her previously. She was doing a 50 sub YouTube sub stream, and I was there with her and Ada and Farah, and there was someone that their mic wasn't working. I'm blank on their name. Maybe Ada can help me out. I do apologize. Because they actually made a cool Draco, that's it. They made a kind of cool little montage, but this one is a Let's Play series that they've been doing, just Games Love and Life and Farah, kind of going through the Noble storyline and kind of doing like maps and the living story and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. They're eventually going to have to hang out with Farron, which, I think we all know and love Farron.
That's Swords Master Farron.
Lord Farron.
Not at that time though, but I did put the link in the chat if you want to go check out. That's from the first part. The link will be in the description as well. But yeah, to be fair, it was only Lord Farron at that time because everything, it's time locked. But I think that is it for Community Corner, and I think that is it for this week. So, Jim, where can they find you?
I can be found on Twitter at MelthanusMMO. You can also find me here on twitch.tv/TalkingSkrit, live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for our Zero to Hero PvP night. I think the ranked season will, well, except for this coming Wednesday, because I'm going to be at PAX. So, no Zero to Hero this upcoming week. But I'll be back next week. And I might start ranked. I don't know.
The pain in your voice.
Oh, I feel so bad just now.
I don't know. I might. Who knows? But I'll see you there on Wednesday. It's either PvP or WW. So,
yay! All right. Well, you nurse your wounds. Age, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at Age Night Road. I actually started. My burnout's done. I'm back playing Werewolf's World again, where I died a lot using dagger pistol, so I swapped to sword dagger and I did better. I am also going to PAX, so maybe Monday and Tuesday I'll do some streaming, but the rest of the week I will be gone. And I'll try. I keep saying I'll try to do a video, but I just need the motivation to do it. So I'll try my best there, but no promises. There you go.
Awesome. And you can find me at simply_Dale on Twitch and Twitter. And I was gonna say I did stream this week, but I don't want to say unfortunately, but I did it on this channel, the Talking Skritt one, for that Monday thing that I was talking about with Games Love and Life and Farah, Ada, and Draco, but it was definitely fun. I think Ada just threw it in chat, the highlight thing of like little snippets. It was very fun. if you do want to hang out and join us, we play Guild Wars 2, but we also play other games. I've been playing Warframe recently, dabbled with Trove here and there, but I've seen people play Vermintide, League of Legends, loads of games. I mean, we're gamers first, in the end. So yeah, we do have a community Discord. The link is in our info panel, or if you're on YouTube, it's in the description. And if you are just popping at the very end here live, do stick around. We do an after show. But if you do want to watch us in full, we do highlight on Twitch, but we also do throw it up on your YouTube, and that goes up on Sundays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And if you are watching on YouTube, if you can make it out for the live show, we do pre-show, after show, where, we still talk about Guild Wars 2 or just gaming in general, so kind of more relaxed state where we, talk even more with the chat and stuff like that. But yeah, you can check that out, twitch.tv/TalkingSkrit, Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And this week, I'd like to thank the Twitch hosts from Shadows of the Dragon podcast, That Chevron, hosts of Ascalon, Aurora Peachy, Jaibu Cool, 7-Bit Brian, oh, it switched on me, Arlie 82, Serene Virus, Moonkiller NV, Jaibu Cool, Maple Syrup and Beers, Age Nitro, and me. So thank you, me. I'm sorry. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming out, and we'll see everybody next week and also in the game. Good night, everybody.
I guess we won't see people next week.
I will.